How the devil are we? I'm Matt. Welcome back on another rainy Sunday in Manchester, England, for some more proofies out there. Some weird stuff going on, including fountains and sheep. I don't know if I'd say that. Fountains and sheep. Anyway, let's take a look.
We're in the countryside of central Scotland in February 2020. A local man named Derek Fable is braving the midwinter's day for a stroll.
As I looked across the valley from where I was walking, I could see that waterfalls were not behaving as normal.
Initial impression, wind.
Derek zooms in on a waterfall named Jenny's Lum.
It's not doing what waterfalls typically do, which is
That's water rising, really.
fall. It's defying physics and the laws of gravity and flowing upwards. It's really weird.
You can see as we zoom in, the strange reversal creates an effect that looks almost like rising smoke.
Lum is the Scots word for chimney. So
it's probably typical then, which is why it's got that name. Like, it's on the edge of a sort of hillside, and I can imagine that if the wind's hitting it, rising, and it's pushing the water out like a spray. I think it's wind.
it is really awe-inspiring. It's tremendously fabulous to watch.
So how could this waterfall be defying gravity? Perhaps there's some invisible force at work here. Folklore
Enter the strange theories.
suggests a mischievous, far-fetched source. Fairies.
I didn't expect that, to be honest.
Campsie Fells, the area in Scotland where this waterfall is located, actually translates to Crooked Fairy Hill. Apparently, in Scottish folklore, every loch, river, waterway, and well had a name and a fairy that protected it.
Could it actually be that fairies are messing with the water to protect their home?
No.
Apparently,
I mean, I don't want to piss on like legends, Scottish legends, British legends, any legend really, but I think they're going to go around the houses. Is it fairy? Is it aliens? Is it ghosts? No, it's wind.
fairies in Scotland can be nice, or they can be not so nice if you don't treat them well.
Well, we all know how they're left these days.
These are all fun stories, but before we get on board with the fairy hypothesis, can our experts figure out what's going on with this inverted cascade?
First, has gravity somehow been altered? Physicist Michio Kaku notes that while gravity does vary from planet to planet, depending on their diameter and mass, if Earth's gravity reversed, we'd notice.
Maybe gravity went backwards and things began to fall up.
Oh, Professor. They'll wheel you out and say, here's a waterfall with wind shooting the water up. Can you just give us some spiel about gravity not working?
If so, not just the waterfall, but everything should have fallen up. The entire Earth, the orbit of the planet going around the sun. And so the idea that you could somehow turn off gravity, reverse it like a
What's with the fucking retro music going in now? We'll start raving in a minute.
light switch. No, gravity is not like a light switch. Gravity is what holds the universe together. You turn it off, and the universe starts to come apart.
If gravity is still intact, could this strange phenomenon have something to do with the weather conditions on that day?
I reckon so.
If we look at the surface winds through this area, you can see that many of the winds all throughout Scotland were upwards in this kind of 25 to 30 knot wind range, which is a pretty healthy wind speed, especially if you're talking about a waterfall that doesn't have a very high flow rate.
Jenny's Lum is what's known as an ephemeral waterfall, which only appears as runoff after a heavy rain. Since it's not connected to a permanent river or stream, the volume of water is much lower than you'd see in a typical cascade. Due to the low flow rate, Hin says these strong winds could explain what we're seeing.
Get away.
The high wind speed did seem to be strong enough to counteract the gravity of the waterfall.
Winds, when they interact with water, can create aerosols. Think of a perfume, spray it in a room, and you find that these little droplets of aerosols float. Why? Because their density is near the density of ordinary air, and so they float in the air.
Our verdict? This is an unexplained water phenomenon.
Our verdict? Unusually strong wind gusts from a winter storm are causing the water from the falls to turn into vapor and spray up and back rather than down.
April 2021, East Sussex, England. University lecturer Chris Hogg is going on his usual morning bike ride. What Chris doesn't know is that this bike ride is going to turn into a real head trip.
I'm getting
Is he going to go straight over the handlebars, is he?
closer and closer to what I suddenly realized is sheep. And I'm like, what is that? And why are they in these kind of concentric circles? And normally they're really, like, sheep are noisy, but they were just absolutely silent.
So what or who is the cause for these weird sheep and their eccentric, concentric behavior?
If I didn't know better, I would call this a living
A cult. A sheep cult.
crop circle.
While the concept of crop circles may have originated with a series of hoaxes in the 70s and 80s, similar reports go back centuries, and some of the latest crop circles are so mathematically precise, many theorize that they are encoded messages from extraterrestrial forces.
I mean, just come out and tell us, Christ. If they've got to use crop circles to convey a message, they're not doing a very good job, are they?
When you see something this odd, you have to ask yourself the question, are we dealing with perhaps some form of non-human intelligence that are controlling these sheep?
Called sheep. Non-human intelligence. Sheep.
This wouldn't be the first case of crop circle via animal. About a decade ago, crop circles were springing up all over Tasmania, Australia. The culprit? Frenzied wallabies hopping in circles, almost as if someone else was controlling them. And what about this wild and
Bit weird.
woolly sheep incident?
I'm assuming that crop circle that they showed, though, was not made by wallabies going round in circles. It looks way too precise.
Historically, there was an incident that happened back in 1888 called the Great Sheep Panic. This is where sheep, thousands of them, at the same time, they got up and they just fled. They went crazy.
The cause of that incident is still up for debate today. As for our East Sussex herd,
Whatever caused these sheep to act in unison, something powerful triggered them.
Are they not being herded or something? Because all we've seen is a picture now, but we've not seen like a video of them walking around in circles or anything.
Whether you think all crop circles are hoaxes or you're already at work decoding them, you've got to admit, these sheep certainly seem to be up to something. Let's turn to our experts to find out if this flock is being manipulated by extraterrestrial forces.
Who they're going to bring out? Midwest is probably useless here, if I'm honest. And Michio Kaku, if I'm pronouncing that even slightly right, is he going to come out and say there's some sort of gravity manipulation?
Or if someone is trying to pull the
Michael Primo, is he going to say the photograph is doctored?
wool over our eyes?
Dr. Stephanie Shuttler says the wallaby crop circles have more to do with the crops than the circles.
They were eating poppy plants and they got high and were jumping around in circles that made these patterns.
But biologist Floyd Hayes doesn't think an opium high accounts for the strange behavior of the English sheep.
I've never heard, I mean, that's the expression I had. You know, like, what, you're talking about wallabies getting stoned making crop circles? I've heard it all now. That's a perfect expression to pause on.
I don't think there's any evidence that they're drugged. I think if they were really not feeling well, they'd probably be sprawled out on the ground, but they're all standing alert, so they appear to be healthy.
So, is there a chance these sheep circles could be perfectly natural?
So a lot of prey species will gather together as a defense against predators, especially in open areas like this. And they
No, in Sussex, there's nothing, we don't have anything in England. I don't think we've got any poisonous snakes. We don't have poisonous spiders. We don't have things like bears. We don't have wolves. I don't think we've got anything remotely dangerous in England.
Will form circular shapes.
Half of people.
What's really odd about this, though, is that the circles seem to be perfectly shaped and evenly spaced apart. So this is something that you really wouldn't see naturally happen.
Shuttler looks closer and notes that most of the sheep have their heads down, like they're eating. For her, that clue is the key to this mystery.
What's really going on is these sheep are just eating, and the food that they were given was laid out in this circular pattern. The sheep are therefore making this formation just because that's where the food is.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose if you're distributing all the food by a tractor or something, and it's got one of those, Christ knows how farmers do it, but if it's spitting out the food, you're just driving a circular pattern. Just easier, I suppose. Keep them all in one area.
Chris Hogg arrived at the same conclusion. He decided to investigate after taking this photo and track down the farmer.
I was like, have you seen what the sheep are doing? And he looks
I was like, yeah, of course I have. They're my frigging sheep.
over, he goes, yes, I fed them in that shape.
So we've solved the mystery. It
Not really a mystery.
seems that the way to a sheep's mind is through its stomach. Our verdict? These strange sheep circles were simply a byproduct of a specific feeding method.
While walking along the rocky coastline of Sambro, Nova Scotia in April of 2021, Jeffrey Howard came upon a disturbing sight.
Got a little curious, wanted to go check it out, and was surprised to find a headless seal.
And not just one, there were more, lots more.
I look over and there's another seal floating in the tidal pool. And it was 10 minutes of kind of shock of realizing, oh, this is a lot more than just a single animal that died naturally and washed up on the coast.
Oh, that is weird. That is really weird.
There's probably hundreds, if not thousands more.
Of course, it's well
I think you'd know if there were thousands of headless seals on a beach.
known that seals have natural predators,
Yeah, I know, but just bite their heads off.
killer whales among them, and of course, great white sharks.
The great white shark in recent years has been extending its range into far northern waters. There are a number of theories regarding global warming and climate change that may be driving these sharks to move into sort of unfamiliar territory.
When an oceanic apex predator kills a seal, you're bound to find bite marks on the carcass like this. Who just eats the head?
The head wouldn't necessarily provide nutrition.
If anyone goes into an ocean, knowing those things are swimming around in it, I do not know. Honestly, I do not know. But if anyone goes into the sea in Australia, how often do you see it now where someone's getting attacked or eaten by a shark in Australian waters? And you think, yeah, it's probably a rare occurrence. Well, once is enough for me. I mean, I wouldn't risk it.
Not so much that they would only eat the head and leave the body. I don't really know any animals that would just eat an animal's head.
Now, people have been reporting large sea beasts in this part of the country since before it was a country. The Mi'kmaq tribe spoke of a horned underwater serpent named Jipakam.
Look at that thing. Looks sad, actually, doesn't it? That looks like the saddest. It's like, oh, do me in, kill me. Put me out my misery. Look at it. Looks miserable.
But researcher Ken Gerhardt, who studies water monsters, believes humans are responsible.
There are documented examples of commercial fishermen that have killed seals because they basically affect the amount of fish that they're able to. They're competitors.
Well, what are you doing? Sending a message to the other seals, like some them on mafia or something. Let's cut his head off and leave it there on the beach. That'll send a message. Piss around with our fish. This is what you get.
The other possibility could be something more diabolical and sinister, something like a serial killer or
Serial killer. Yeah, no, sorry. Terrible, that one. But yeah, I mean, if that... It'd be a little bit more uniform, though. Because if someone's, like, chopping their heads off with a chainsaw or something, it'd be a bit more clinical. They look like bite marks or... Yeah. If somebody's going out there doing that to seals, then got something wrong with you.
some type of cult that was looking to do animal mutilation.
Every time.
This mystery is
That's my reaction. I hate snakes. Hate them.
Just about the strange appearance of the carcasses. It's the sheer number of them. Dozens of animals with only their heads missing. The concern, if someone is killing seals so bizarrely, could they soon move on to humans? Let's see if our experts can find the culprit before the culprit finds us.
Made my skin crawl.
We started by asking wildlife biologist Stephanie Shuttler if there's any way a natural predator like a shark could be responsible.
Look at the state of that. The people go swimming around.
It is possible that sharks went after seals and they weren't able to consume the whole seal for some reason. Something interrupted their predatory behavior.
But the seals were in different stages of decomposition. How likely is it that a shark feeding frenzy was interrupted on numerous separate occasions?
The fact that it only seems to be heads all happening at the same time suggests that there's something more calculated is going on.
Let's consider the next suspect in our lineup, humans.
There were some incidences recently of humans regularly injuring pelicans by slicing part of their neck. So unfortunately, this could be the work of humans.
Why? Why though? You know what? I've not done a video about 3i Atlas and the theory that it's a alien spacecraft because every man and his pissing dog's done a video saying, oh, it's changed course, it's done this, and using AI to talk bollocks basically. But absolutely not. It's not real. I don't think it's anything other than a comet. I hope. Touch wood. But it'd be good if something like that just wipes us all out, I think, because people doing this, I don't have any faith in humanity. Jesus wept.
Before settling on that disturbing conclusion, we contacted Dr. Gary Stinson, a research scientist with the Canadian Department of Fisheries and Oceans, to shed some light on the subject.
What happens with a lot of these animals is that when they're born, they don't really have the ability to swim 24/7. So they need an area where they can haul out, and they haul out on ice. So in the springs, that ice is breaking up. Those animals, especially the young, will get dumped into the water and they'll drown.
Thing is, nursing seals build up a hefty layer of fat, which is beneficial for a living seal, but horror-inducing in a dead one.
You have a body that's encased in this blubber. On the other end, you've got this skull that's quite heavy. And so the weakest point is the neck. And so you've got this very, very heavy head. And as the body starts to decompose, it ends up falling off. And you get what looks like headless seals.
Fair play. I mean, I'm happy with that. Because if you would have said, oh yeah, it's somebody going out there just chopping seals' heads off, then...
Humans may not be personally beheading these seals, but this could be an unintentional consequence of our actions. Our verdict, naturally occurring decomposition of seals that drown due to thinning ice.
And by our, he means climate change. Bit of wasteland on the old climate change thing. Seems like governments are intent on bankrupting us, killing the economies for green initiatives. Especially in the UK, where if we slid into the ocean tomorrow, I think we account for like 1.5% of the total pollution of the world. Wouldn't make a difference. So let's bankrupt us. Have a drink. On that cheerful note, I'll leave it there. You take care. I will see you on the next one. Cheers.